Alright, time to record another video for the channel. What are we talking about today? Oh yeah, the season review. I had to put that off because Fizzbangs weren't available until the 22nd when there was the next Splatfest. Look, guys, I try to avoid being too negative about Splatoon on this channel, so I wasn't looking forward to this review, because I have to be honest about it and not sugarcoat things, and, well, this is gonna be mostly negative. So, I do want to preface that it is gonna have to be that kind of video. I'll try my best to point out the positives where I can, because I did set out to review every season fairly, and I'm gonna do that here. So, just giving you a heads up that it's gonna be this kind of video today. You should subscribe if you enjoy, and let's just get started. First off, the new weapon kits. We got 8 of these, which is already one of the lowest amounts we have gotten for any season, which isn't great. Competitive-wise, the power of these are really low. The only one of these to see some competitive usage is 52 Deco, because you can have a 52 with a bomb. It's not even one of the stronger kits in the game, it's just a kit attached to one of the best weapons in the game. I think the Squiffer kit is the big winner out of all of this. I mean, there's been memes about it. It's just the most fun one by far while being a strong competitive tool. It's a really unique one out of anything we've gotten. I've enjoyed the Glugas, the Leader, and some of the other ones a little bit. But, I mean, this definitely does suffer from a lot of the kit design problems that I've covered in another video, so I won't talk too much about it. I guess the best example out of anything I could talk about is Nautilus. It's a Noob Stomper main weapon that got a Noob Stomper special weapon, but then we want to back out and give it 210p because that might be too strong at lower level play. And I'm just thinking, well, why not give it a special that's weaker at lower levels and better at higher levels? Something that makes more sense competitively. Could be cool. I'm not really sure why Splashdown was picked for this weapon, honestly. And it's yet another cool inkjet option that didn't come back, which feels kind of odd considering just how many cool Kraken weapons have come back as reference kits, but look at the amount of inkjet ones by comparison. Both of these are some of the most liked specials from their respective games, but clearly one of them is getting better treatment than the other. Which I'm not saying is a bad thing for Kraken. All of the Kraken kits have been pretty well received, and yeah, CRB should also be a reference kit. I'm just saying, you know, maybe Inkjet could have gotten a few of them as well. Anyway, I don't want to spend too long on kits because, yeah, that's been the topic of a lot of scrutiny. As for the new main weapons, the Brella is still a little disappointing to me, but I think it could be more fun depending on what they do balance-wise. If they make it a little bit more unique or really play into the shield gimmick, I think it could be a lot more than just, hey, they gave old Brella's damage to this weapon with a really weak shield, and I hope that happens. But for the time being, it just makes me miss old Brella. Dowsers are still really fun, one of the most satisfying weapons to play for me, and it's really cool to see a unique playstyle in the dually class, with a much better kit than most of the new main weapons have gone on their release. So yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of the Dowser still. There's the balance patch. They didn't do any horrible changes, but it's basically a nothing burger. The highlights were the things that weren't even balance changes, which was the Splatoon 1 emote finally getting unique animations for Splatana stringers, dualies, and Brellas, something I talked about back in the Fresh Season 2023 review, and the table turf changes, which I think those were cool. We got a few new characters, some more maps, a higher amount of decks you could have. I asked some table turf players for their thoughts on it since I don't play it as much, and the main consensus seemed to be that these are fine, but two of the main features they've been looking for are the ability to select table turf on the menu maps and online multiplayer, which, yeah, it feels really weird that these aren't options, so fair point there. Again, it's still new stuff and much more for table turf than I think a lot of people expected, so we'll definitely take it, but I really hope those other features table turf players are asking for can actually happen. We got a lot of new gear, mostly returning from Splatoon 2, and a Splatoon 2 victory emote for the weapons. It's not all the animations, since obviously they had some unique ones, especially split between Inklings and Octolings, but it seems like they got most of the fan favorites in, which is great, and hey, it is a lot of returning gear, which is nice, even if it's a year and 6 months later. Splatfest got some points changes so that the second place in each category would still get decent points, which I think will improve how the system feels, some new fest music, which is just overall positive, and the main new mechanic of Fizzbang, which I think is fine. You get these as the match progresses, getting more as you get later into the game, and as a reward for kills. With a maximum of 7, you can throw them with no ink tank usage, have decent range, a giant blast radius, and do 30 damage with a very slow detonation time. Basically, these are just mini weaker burst bombs that everyone gets to have and use. They're not super exceptional, but they're fun. It's something new for Turf War and Splatfest, which is great. It's something we've needed. I think anyone hoping for it to be really game-changing is going to be really disappointing, but I think they're totally fine as is, and definitely serve to make a bit of weapons more fun. They are very, very funny. Finally is Salmon Run. There is a lag fix in terms of how salmonid spawn on the edge of the map that I have actually noticed has helped a lot. Slider got a pretty significant buff, so that's cool as well. And we had a brand new Salmon Run map. This might be my favorite one, honestly. The unique layout in terms of being a flipped map in the mid layout, kind of like the multiplayer stages, and the abundance of ink rails really gives it a unique identity that I found a lot of fun. It is, however, the last Salmon Run map they're adding, which I'm very confused by, because they've basically been porting most of the Splatoon 2 Salmon Run stages to this game with very minimal changes, and we still have 2 of those left. Salmon Run still doesn't even have 10 maps in it. This is the second game to have Salmon Run. It just feels like we definitely could have had a little bit more here. But alright. Big Run also happened on Eeltail Alley. They thankfully used the tricolor layout, which is a little bit more unique, and I mean, I still had fun with it. Big Run is my favorite limited time event, outside of a few of the challenges that pop up. But I mean, it's Eeltail Alley. It's just really hard to make that stage feel super unique and fun. So it was fine, but I definitely enjoyed other maps more. Speaking of limited time events, I don't have much to say for challenges because we haven't played all of them, but Full Steam Ahead happened, and that was really cool. So, you know, just want to point that out. Finally is the new stage, Marlin Airport. I think this one is definitely way better than where we started in Splatoon 3, but I could definitely see more of its issues now that I've played it a bit. Mainly that once you win the team fight in mid, everything condenses into this tiny fan and court area. This gets a little bit better in Rainmaker after the checkpoint and Clam Blitz all the time at least, but it is definitely a little bit sad how much of the fights tend to condense into such a small space when the middle of the map is so open and large. Still though, I think it's a fun map casually and competitively still has a lot of merit. I definitely had a good time on it, and I'm more of a fan of it than most people. I think the idea of bringing back the fans' unique gimmick is also great. It's good to see more stages having their own unique identity. That being said, again, there's no returning map here for the first time, and it's still really confusing, because, for example, we had Humpback with very minimal changes, so why couldn't we have done that with, like, Reef, one of the most favorite stages in Splatoon history? It feels like it would be a no-brainer win here. I don't know, maybe after next season they wanted the total amount of maps to match the private battle screen or something, but I mean, you know, that's not a great reason. It sucks because I think Marlin is overall a pretty solid stage, but not having a second one is really felt. I saw a lot of other people talking about how much Marlin got spammed the first week to the point where people actually got tired of it because there was no second map that was also being played a lot, since the new stages are made more common for the first week. So yeah, is this the worst season? Yes, like, objectively, it pretty much has the least content. It has some highlights, there's some positive stuff, but you can really tell there's less stuff than usual. I think the only comparable season you can say is worse than this is Chill Season 2022, because 2 of the main weapons were so laughably undertuned that even more casual players noticed, as well as adding 2 of the worst maps in the series back, Brine Water and this cursed ship map in Salmon Run. But even then, that update had 10 weapon kits, 3 new main weapons, and 2 new multiplayer maps. So content-wise, it's still a lot higher than what we got now. Is it overhated? Maybe. There is still a lot of fun stuff here, don't get me wrong, and there were some brand new things that I did have a good time with, but I think people who more play Splatoon 3 every now and then and check out the updates to play the game might not see a lot in this one compared to the usual updates, which especially hurts given that this came out with Side Order, which probably did put a few more eyes on the game. So yeah, as of right now, I think it's a little bit disappointing, which sucks. I hope that there's some more content extension for Season 9 and third kits, because honestly, I think this game could just use a little bit more. But for now, that's what we got. Thanks for watching, guys.